Maybe this helps you understand what I believe Sargon's contention is, but it sounds as though you guys are saying either they won because they were the moral ones, or they haven't lost yet, but they will.
No.
Well,
no,
the Mongols, Sargon brings up the Mongols as an example of dominant force, and you're like, yeah, but they lost eventually.
I think the confusion is that, or what I'm saying is, and I assume Adam agrees, is that generally what we think of as more moral will generally create productive, successful societies. Now, that doesn't mean that there can't be societies that are successful to some degree or short term that are immoral.
Yes.
And it seems to be that's where the confusion
exactly
is
right.
kind of,
yes.
But success isn't a measure of morality.
Well, but that's where we're disagreeing.
That's our disagreement.
Extent.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, but
no. Actually, no. I agree with you. Success.
If you guys
wait a minute. Success. You're right. Success isn't a measure of morality, but I do think that they often go hand in hand.
Okay, maybe that's true, but
and
success
maybe
is
always.
Not the measure of morality.
That's the question.
And here's why we're saying this, because if you believe that morality exists because of evolution, then it'd have to be connected to success and thriving to some degree. Otherwise, it wouldn't be connected to evolution.
Yeah, but that goes into the whole like cows are super successful, yet they're miserable and in massive numbers.
Like, well, yeah, but we don't know what cow morality is. We're talking about human morality.
No, I'm talking about you call them successful. It's like, yeah, you can call that successful, but that doesn't mean it's moral.
Sure.
Which is why I think that this is almost.
But we're not making that.
Because
No.
The second you bring it, this is where it started, right? You said that look at history, how much of it has cannibalism or whatever the other examples were, and have successful civilizations. If I was in the call when you said that, I'd be like, well, I mean, that's not a great argument. Let's not use that.
No. I don't remember the exact argument that you're referring to, but we're not saying that success is moral. We're saying that if you believe that morality is a natural human phenomenon that exists in humans only because of natural selection, obviously it has to be bound by some of those same rules.
Yeah. And we're also having a conversation about justification.
That's not a very high standard.
We also have examples that going both ways. It's like it wins out just because it was the cruelest and most efficient, or it won out because it was the most moral. So why is that a useful descriptor?
Well, first of all, but that's where you have to start to understand what morality is in the first place.
Yeah, if you're not using some sort of objective measure, you're never going to be able to study morality objectively.
Well, this is where the difference is, because again, we were talking about morality mostly descriptively in terms of understanding why a moral system comes to exist. We were not saying that a moral system is that a moral system is necessarily better or quote more moral than another moral system. And I think that's where we were getting kind of stuck in this endless loop of a conversation for.
My genuine perspective is I'm trying to be as good faith as possible. It comes across as a Motte and Bailey. It feels like the argument I'm being given is look at history and see how many are successful with this act. Therefore, we can probably conclude the act isn't too good. And then I go, oh, well, that's that's not definitive at all. And then you guys say, no, I didn't say it was definitive. I'm saying it could be. And it's like
So the example that we gave in terms of the having sex with animals was that if you have basically no successful society engaging in some behavior, okay, regardless of whether we consider it moral or immoral, there's probably a reason for that. And that behavior is probably not conducive to creating successful society.
To which the response is, it could be, it couldn't be. I don't know that that's.
Well,
really
I don't. Yeah, I'd have to. Well, but I would disagree, because I would say
horrifically immoral societies that were really successful.
Yeah, and I feel like he's got a point with the Mongols like that.
Yeah, but that's first of all, wait a minute. But no, he doesn't, because the Mongols self-imploded because obviously their system didn't work.
Well, no,
so if America self-implodes in the next 10 decades,
and
then obviously there's a failing in the American
system.
system.
Overnight, right? Like there was a lot going on because they had a literally world-spanning empire. So the fact that they gained any of this is fucking phenomenal, you know.
We can't deny how successful they were, and it sounds like your metric is like, nah, they failed, though, it's fine. And it's like, really? Like, with how successful and how wide-reaching that civilization was, we're just going to say they imploded eventually.
Well, no,
you couldn't call the Mongol Empire a failure, okay? It wouldn't be a reasonable judgment.
Yes,
we're arguing just definitions.
You could 100% call, this is 100% Sitch's law. We're 100% arguing the definition of failure and success, because
and also they're super offended by us saying, like, deeming success
offended
moral.
by anything, man.
Well,
I'm not offended.
You are. You don't. It's triggering your moral intuition.
If we're no, but this is I understand where the confusion is. Moral. If Adam and myself are agreeing to the definition of morality as simply rules which binds a group of people together in a society, and then we say, well, it's successful or not is dependent on whether that society goes forward or not. And then then other people hear that and they're saying, oh, well, if you're saying it's success, then you're writing off and agreeing that this is a moral society from your perspective, which was not the argument we were making originally.
Could be a completely immoral society.
But success isn't a measurement of virtue, of morality, right?
You're right. It's not, but it's a success of whether that moral system is successful in terms of the propagation of the culture.
Right.
Yeah, but why?
Here's the mind
hang on, because how is it that you don't see that validates villainy?
See
because we're not talking because we're not talking about validating or invalidating. We're talking about why morality exists.
And right. This is exactly when I was joking around about what you were worried. Like you're here as the enforcer of the moral system. You're worried that we're going to.
I'm making judgments about different moral systems. That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, and so will we.
So are we.
Yes, right. There are tons of moral systems out there that we think are awful or bad.
Right.
Sure.
But Sargon wants to come in here and he wants to say.
But the mechanism you've got.
The Mongols were terrible and they were super successful. And by your metric, you're saying that they were moral people and therefore you're bad because you're calling them moral. If success is your metric. Mongol. Checkmate, atheist. That's exactly what you're doing, Sargon.
I know. Wait, hold on. I'm glad.
I don't understand why you see success as a measure of validation for a moral system.
Well, because you're not. Because you're talking about validation. Okay.
Yeah.
Under I'm glad that we're having this conversation because me and Adam we're in our own bubble, and obviously in our bubble we're generally often talking about things from evolutionary terms. So to us, it was totally invisible to us that when we were having this conversation, that other people were not understanding the context of the language we were using. So I'm glad that we're having this conversation.
When you say from an evolutionary system, what you mean is devoid of moral judgments.
Right. Oh God. Oh
right?
God.
So devoid of
can we just lay out
our prescriptive moral judgments? Yes.
Yeah.
Can we lay out the inside the system and outside the system, just so we're having a conversation about the same thing here? Sargon, do you realize that a moral system is like a set of rules for, like, do you agree with that part of what we're saying?
I agree with that definition. Yes.
Okay, so like there are.
So wait a minute. So you would agree that success, under that definition, you have to agree that success is a metric.
Yeah, what is the purpose of the moral system?
Well, okay, but when you say success, that sounds like an endorsement, right?
I understand that. And I'm glad that we're having this conversation so that me and Adam can be very clear that we're not prescriptively endorsing, necessarily the success of a moral system as being an inherently good thing or not.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, if you want to describe, and going back to the Mongols, just because they're a really easy example, right? You could describe the moral system of the Mongols as being a very successful one
at the time. Yes.
Yeah, obviously.
Well, it depends how you define success, but
and also if they were competing
success being
against
the
other
largest
systems.
contiguous land empire in history.
That's for how long did it last for? Right.
300 years.
Okay. Well, isn't that important?
Come on, really?
We're saying the Mongols weren't successful, aren't we? I mean, but that's not good.
So, wait.
They did it
exactly. True.
Murder.
I agree. It's not good. I agree. It's not good. But
were the Mongols more successful than America?
Yes.
Let's ask that. They were. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so what is your criteria for more successful?
Great enemies. The Mongols didn't. They conquered them.
What is your
overall
criteria?
Happiness of the population in terms of
what is your criteria?
Well, there we go. Right.
In terms of technology and improvements of the world.
What criteria would you like to adopt?
Well, if you're using happiness, I would say no, but
that's why I'm saying six. That's why. Okay, but this is the problem. We were talking about two different concepts here, because when you say success, you're kind of loading it with all sorts of moral.
That's what you did.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now, because that's what you guys are doing. Okay.
No.
Originally, we were only talking about whether
when you were trying to say a good argument against bestiality is to look at the history of successful civilizations related to their morals. That gives a proof. That naturally makes it sound like that validates that bestiality is a bad thing.
I'm saying that The video is about
let me
Shu.
take a
Wait,
shot,
the video was
Sitch.
about Shu making a naturalistic argument against bestiality, and where we were going, but we never got there because we've only watched the video for 5 seconds. Was that there is legitimacy to a natural argument to some degree, and part of that degree is to look at other societies and how they function. Now, I believe it's important that you shouldn't rely simply on just saying, well, it's unnatural, but is to then break it down further to understand, well, what exactly is it about this behavior that causes moral harm, that causes societies to fail? But we never got to that part of the conversation yet.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
What's
so that's the only issue that I and Sargon seem to take, is that you used it in a sense that it was it leads you to a positive rather than it being a neutral that needs to be discussed.
Well, no, that's not. Well, that might be your contention. Sargon has a different contention. But if that was your contention, I agree, and that was just bad. We were misspeaking. We were just not expressing ourselves properly. We didn't get to the point that we were talking about yet because we haven't got there in the video yet.
Wait,
Sargon's main contention, at least what you originally came on, your first contention was that you thought we were making bad rhetorical arguments that could lead to people using that logic to justify bad behavior.
Yes.